Hello, this is the VOCS Online Fall 2022 orientation. My name is Francisco Crisantos. I am one of the social studies teachers here at, or social science teachers here at Valley Oaks, and I'm also the VOCS Online coordinator. So let's go ahead and get started by when you picked up materials from the school, you should have received a syllabus or VOCS Online agreement, as well as guided notes if your courses had guided notes. So please be sure to take a look at that agreement, which you received two copies of, a salmon color and a yellow copy. The salmon colors for you to go ahead and fill out and return to the front office, and the yellow copies for you to go ahead and keep for your own personal record. Okay. To begin with, throughout the agreement, you're going to find some very important references to some online tools or resources that we'll be using throughout the school year. Google Classroom, so the Google Classroom code is right there, as well as in the backhand side towards the kind of bottom of the agreement. Google Classroom will not be a place where your student actually goes to complete their schoolwork. It would actually be a place in which they can utilize to get some resources and some guidance on how to utilize Edmentum and maximize their learning throughout the semester. Okay, I have some tools like just reminder how to sign up for Remind. I have a video there that's how to add files to Edmentum and how to add files to Turnitin, download them, and then attach them to Edmentum. Okay, Remind we'll be using throughout the school year to communicate from myself as a teacher or students and parents. And so it's a really great communication platform that you can use to text message either via the app or the text messenger feature. And if you do turn on the Remind voice, you actually can make and receive phone calls. Turnitin will be utilized to check for plagiarism. So whenever there is a assignment that requires for you to submit to turnitin.com, this is the enrollment ID key that you'll need to sign up for the Turnitin class, and then the enrollment key. Okay. The website that your student will need to go to in order to access their curriculum is right here, which is listed right there again in the agreement. I would highly recommend that your student bookmark this page so they can have easy access, especially if they're using their school email. They can actually save it to their Google account. So whenever they log into any other device, that bookmark will pop up and they'll be able to access their login information relatively easily. How do you access your Edmentum curriculum? Okay. Now, this password system that I'm going to discuss shortly only applies to new students that have not taken or completed an Edmentum course in the past. If you have previously used Edmentum, continue to use your login information, okay, that you previously have had. If you happen to have forgotten that password, then reach out to me via Remind or email so that you can I can go ahead and reset your password, okay? So account is KCOOE. This can be all caps or lowercase actually. Username must be written exactly, okay? So for the first two letters of your first name, followed by your last name. So in this case, Jane Doe's username would be JADOE. Your password is the first letter of your first name, the first letter of your last name, and then your birthday. So in this case, for Jane Doe, if her birthday was on August 9th, 2001, the password for her would be JD0809 2001. So if you notice, you use all two digits for the date, for the month and the date, okay? And again, this new password system only applies to new Valley Oaks students. If you have previously used, Valley Oaks Online Edmentum students, if you have previously used Edmentum, continue to use that same password. Again, just to reiterate, Remind is an important communication tool that we'll be using throughout the semester. It's a way to get a hold of me, for me also to get a hold of you, both the student and home teacher. So please pause this video right now. Make sure you sign up for the Remind class. The Remind class code is VOCS ONLINE. So that's VOCS Online is the Remind class code. okay? Or you can use the text messaging option if you do not want to download the app and text 81010. And in the message area, you're going to go ahead and write at VOCS Online, so VOCS Online, okay? Now, as far as grading is concerned in this class, grading is broken down into a series of 6 categories. So we're looking at first discussions. Usually discussions will be presented at the beginning of a tutorial, of a unit. In some courses, the discussion may appear at the end of the unit. And so just keep in mind, if this discussion does appear at the beginning of a unit and maybe your student doesn't fully feel comfortable answering that prompt at that moment, they're welcome to come back and complete it. There's a good chance that once a discussion actually gets graded and they may not have fully answered the prompt, they will be given the opportunity to fix a mistake from the discussion. Usually the aide that may grade it will go ahead and prompt you to have a follow-up, being that you may have missed an aspect of that discussion, okay? Tutorial notes is the next area of grading that we'll be utilizing. And actually, yeah, only 2 options. For tutorial notes, the options include completing the guided notes. Option 2 is taking your own notes. So in some courses, guided notes may not be provided. And in that case, you will have to then take your own notes. Okay, here's an example of what those guided notes actually look like. You will again have received a hard copy of these notes. You may have an area at the beginning where you have to maybe write some definitions on some key terms. You'll have to document what's the objective lesson. And then as you go through the reading, you'll be filling in the blanks along the way. At the very end of each tutorial, there's usually a summary question. Please make sure that you answer that summary question. Usually the summary questions for that whole unit is around 30% of the overall grade. So if you decide not to answer any of the summary questions, you're automatically going to be dropping your grade down on just that one assignment down to 70%. And that's assuming you finished everything. If you have any blanks along the way, then obviously it will drop even further than 70%. Okay. Here is a list of the courses that do not have guided notes, and so therefore you would have to then take your own notes for these particular courses. In your packet, when you picked up your materials, there would have been a page that actually mentioned all the courses that do not have guided notes. So again, if your course happens to fall under one of these, that means that course does not have guided notes, and therefore you'd have to take your own notes for those particular lessons. Okay. The next part of our grading is lesson activities. So in the past, the lesson activities have been optional as part of the tutorial notes. Going forward, these are actually going to be a required part of the coursework. So lesson activities, usually if a tutorial has these lesson activities, these are essentially assignments along a tutorial that students will complete. They may require simply answering a question or writing a short response to something. It could be maybe a supplemental reading the student will then have to read and then answer a series of questions, or it could be assignment on its own as well. Make sure you follow the directions carefully in those lesson activities, so that you can fully earn the points for that tutorial lesson activity. Keep in mind, in some of these lesson activities, Edmentum may provide you a sample answer. The sample answer is simply that. It's a sample answer to help you consider and think about what type of answer you should be responding, or get an idea of how your answer should be. It is not there for you to go ahead and copy and paste as your own answer. That, of course, is cheating and it's plagiarism, and you will end up receiving a zero for that whole assignment. The initial time without the opportunity to be able to redo that. And this applies to any other cheating that may have occurred. Okay, I'll go over the honesty policy a little bit. All right. Next category of assignments is your mastery test. So mastery tests tend to be coincide with the lesson activity. So think about the tutorial. Lesson tutorial is essentially your textbook, and then your mastery test is like a quiz or a test for that particular tutorial. Assuming you have completed the tutorial, the mastery test will unlock, because the first time when you try and take it, you'll see there's a little lock icon. It means you cannot take it until you have completed the tutorial. Once you have completed the tutorial, you can take it, okay? And then your goal should hopefully be to get an 80% or better. The mastery test tends to be only 5 questions. So if you do your math and you get 2 questions wrong, that means you're already at a 60%. So therefore, it's highly encouraged you consider retaking the tutorial mastery test in order to get a better score. So again, you can unlock those mastery tests once it gets locked again by actually doing exactly what you did to unlock it the first time, which is review the tutorial. And then upon reviewing the tutorial again, you will unlock your mastery test and you can retake it. You can only take each mastery test for a total of 3 times. Okay. The next category is projects. And so by projects, that is referring to your unit activities, your course activities, or they may actually be called projects. Okay. This could be maybe a essay that you'll have to write. Maybe you have to make a presentation with a visual aid. Maybe it's just a series of tasks that you have to complete. Okay, depending on what it will entail, you make sure you read the directions carefully. If you're not sure what the directions are or what the expectations are, then contact myself or the front office to get help from an aide. And these assignments must have a Turnitin similarity report. And so what you will do here is something I will cover a little bit later, but you'll have to submit essentially your work first through Turnitin.com, get a similarity report, download that report, attach that report to Edmentum. If you have additional work that was completed maybe in a Google Doc, maybe you have a slide presentation, you should be attaching that to that particular assignment. If you have a presentation, you will need to record your presentation. I highly encourage you to use Screencastify. It's something that ties in with your school email and allows you access via the Chrome browser extension. If you're using your own personal computer, then you're welcome maybe to use whatever other kind of software that will allow you to record not only yourself, but also the visual aid, like in this case here, my PowerPoint presentation, for us to go watch your presentation and evaluate it. Okay. Last category for your grade will be your post-test and semester finals. If it happens to be a college prep class, you will have semester finals. If it's not a college prep class, then you only have the post-test. All post-test and semester finals must be done on campus. Okay. And that is usually held on Thursdays in the think tank from 8:30 to around 9:45 is when you can take it at think tank, and then from 9:50 to 12:55 you can go ahead and take your test in room 3 with myself. Okay, so what are the school requirements for this fall semester of online coursework? You got to make sure you're trying to stay on pace. That's one of the key things. Pay attention to what assignments are due and what specific dates. Try and stay on pace. Make sure you keep staff posted. If you're unable to work for a period of time because maybe you're sick, maybe you have a trip going on. If you end up having a trip, try and actually get ahead prior to your trip so you can get ahead of pace. It's easier to get ahead than to fall behind and then work towards catching up. And once if you do happen to fall behind for whatever reason, you try your best to get back on pace. Also, you must submit your notes at the end of a unit to the office. And again, reminder that those post-tests and semester finals must be done on campus. Again, on Thursdays in the think tank, which is in the warehouse between 8:30 to 9:45. and then in room 3 from 9:50 to 12:55. And make sure you follow the academic honesty pledge. Academic honesty pledge means that you will not cheat, you will not copy or plagiarize. If you do cheat, you will receive an automatic 0 for that assignment. If you happen to cheat a second time, there's a possibility you can end up receiving a 0 or an F for the whole course. And so please be sure that you are just honest, and if you're struggling, reach out to me, reach out to schedule some time with an aide so you can get some help and support. As mentioned earlier, we'll be using Turnitin.com to check for plagiarism in the unit activities, course activities, or projects. And it could actually end up being used by the aides or myself to check the validity of some other assignments that you may not have had to submit for plagiarism. The class ID is right here. Again, it's in the bottom of the first page under projects. You can find the Roman key, class ID and the Roman key there. Okay, and if you submit an assignment such as unit activities, course activities, or projects without a Turnitin similarity report, then that assignment may be returned back to you ungraded until you attach an assignment. Okay. So please make sure attach a Turnitin assignment, okay? Here is a picture of kind of that process on how you would go ahead and submit work to Turnitin.com. I'm not gonna go over it all too much because I do provide these PDFs on Google Classroom, and I do have another video that where I actually go over this process. So you can take a look at that video on Google Classroom. And again, this can just a step-by-step on how to add files to Turnitin and on Edmentum, which you can find on Google Classroom. So I hope all of this was helpful. If it wasn't as helpful you would like it to be, and you still have any additional questions, please email me or make sure you send me a remind message, and I will do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible and assist you. My office hours are from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if in the event I don't get back to you during those hours, or maybe after hours, and it's just simply because either it's after hours and I'm not going to, or if it's during school hours, it may be I'm occupied at that time and not able to get back to you. So just be patient. And again, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I look forward to working with both students and home teachers throughout the semester as a resource. And so please contact me. Have a great day.